Hey guys, reviewing the Chelsea Galatasaray match and the matches from yesterday, which included Manchester United against Olympiacos, and Borussia Dortmund against Zenit, and also a look ahead to the second legs. The Chelsea Galatasaray match, a few interesting side plots. Mourinho going against one of his old players that he actually has a really close relationship with off the pitch, with Drogba, and also with Schneider, who played with him at Inter Milan. Saw a funny article come out that apparently minutes after the draw for the round of 16, Mourinho phoned up Schneider and was asking him, I guess, insider information for the team. And it was a physical match today. A little bit chippy. An interesting choice of the lineup for Roberto Mancini. Usually, at least in Europe, European Cup matches, he'll go with 5 defenders. And today we saw a very offensive lineup. A little bit of inexperience in the back, which he adjusted later on by making a substitution. And the game changed a lot after that. Interesting ending. I don't remember the name of the fullback, but he scored in the second half, 63rd minute. But to go back, Torres opened up the scoring, which I always find it funny when he scores for some reason. But Azpilicueta, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm really bad at pronouncing his name. He was out the outside of the box, crossed it in, and Torres, nice little put into the net between two defenders. Very important away goal. Champions League away goals are so monumental. They're so big. Mourinho chose to pick Schürrle, Andre Schürrle, the German kid, to start in place of Oscar. Usually he'll start Oscar. He's one of Chelsea's best players. But I guess he wanted to pick pace on the wings. He valued that over in this match at least. And I thought it was a good move. I'm very critical of Mourinho when it comes to his off the pitch antics, but when it comes to directing the game, there's very few that are as good as him throughout the history of the game. So that worked out very well. He caused nightmare on the wings the whole game. Surely did. Willian, a great purchase from last year. After such an impressive performance with Shakhtar when he visited Stamford Bridge, I believe it was a hat trick. That was a great purchase by Chelsea, and I'm glad to see that he's actually playing a lot. We see a lot of these super teams with a lot of money, and sometimes I don't agree. I wonder why players go when there's so much competition, and there's only 11 spots. So unless you're going to be a fan of the Carling Cup, stay at the club that you're at. But I'm happy to see that he's playing a lot because he's one of my favorite players to watch. He can play on the wing. He can play behind the striker. Really, really technical player. He's got flair and stuff. He had a great game, I thought at least. And Petr Cech had a pretty good game, minus the goal. But playing in Istanbul has to be one of the toughest venues. So 1-1 going into the second leg. It'll be interesting to see Drogba going back to Stamford Bridge. They love him over there. So I'm actually looking forward to that one. That was one of today's matches I thought was going to be one of the more exciting ones. And then yesterday, I didn't get to review those yet. United against Olympiacos. The nightmare for United continues. It was pretty bad. The 2 goals, they lost 2-0. I forget the gentleman's name. I think his name is Jonathan Campbell, which I believe he's an Arsenal loanee. So a lot of the Gunners yesterday on the boards were very happy, very excited that he scored one on United. Um, Great result, 2-0. I'm sure in the second game they're going to park the bus. And even at Old Trafford, the Greek teams, they always have a great back line. So that's going to be a great game. Um, Van Persie had a few opportunities. I really can't believe he missed that sitter. It was right in front, and some people might say it's being too critical, but when you're that talented and you've seen the goals that Van Persie has scored, you expect him to put that away. Mata, of course, was cup tied, so he couldn't play, and the problem of the Rooney Van Persie partnership continues. I was looking at the stats after the game. The only pass of the whole game that they had between each other was the kickoff. That's it. It was the only pass. And I thought last year, at least, when they won the league, they were playing well together. So I don't get why they're playing. Why they don't. I just don't. I watched the game and I don't get it. I don't understand, and why that partnership isn't working. And a lot of the smaller teams, I thought I believe it was the West Ham manager. He commented. He said, their game plan was just to go up and down the wings and cross it in, and he found a way to defend that a few weeks ago, and we saw it, yesterday. And I really don't think they're going to win that game. I think if they even if they do, win the tie, I think Olympiacos is going to advance. And even if United do make it, nothing against Olympiacos, they're a great side. Just because you don't know the team doesn't mean they're not a great side, and that's something I've learned over the years. It's just if it's not a household name, it doesn't matter. All those teams deserve to be there, and the Greeks, they always do well. So even if United manages to go past them, I believe any team they will draw next round. And it's weird to say, but a lot of teams will be hoping they draw United because it's just such a toxic situation. After the game, Van Persie was talking about, he talked to a Dutch newspaper, and he said that some of his teammates play in the position that he wants to be playing in. I wonder who he's talking about. And that his teammates don't understand him, and that's not something you keep that in the no. First of all, you keep that in the locker room, and second of all, you talk with your coach and your teammates about it. You don't spew that off to the reporters. Obviously, he wants to move and stuff. He doesn't, he's not happy there. But who's going to take that contract? It's such a high wage contract, high wages, high salary, and he's going to have to tough it out. The other tie, Zenit and Dortmund. Funny enough, after the game, Hulk, really good Brazilian winger that plays on Zenit, he's like, yeah, after Bayern scored the second goal in the 5th minute or whatever he said, I was very impressed. They're a very good team. I thought it was funny that he didn't know he was playing against Dortmund. But I only saw the highlights of the game. I didn't get to watch that one because it was earlier in the day. But I wasn't giving Dortmund a lot of respect. Even though they have this wonderful talent, especially with Mkhitaryan now, or Mickey, however you want to call him. I wasn't expecting a game like that. And I'm not saying Zenit is one of the best teams, but playing in Russia is always really tough. So 4-2, that's going to be really hard to turn around. I don't see them doing it, especially going back to the I forgot how they call it, Westfalenstadion at Dortmund, basically, is what I'm trying to say. That one's going to be really tough to turn around. Looking forward, probably the closest matchup still, United Olympiacos. Anybody can take that one. The Chelsea Galatasaray. Chelsea, they should win, but you know, who knows what happens, but they have an exceptionally talented team, and that Galatasaray back line, I think they'll get exposed. At least if Mancini does the same kind of lineup as he did today. So I expect Chelsea to advance, and going forward, I'm excited. The second legs, City, I think, will have a chance to win the tie against Barcelona. It depends who scores first, and I'm nervous because I really think Aguero is going to score early on. And the other ties, the Real Madrid tie is over. That's game over. I was over by the first half. The Bayern, if Arsenal can, get some of that magic from last year, maybe they can do some damage. But yeah, I'm excited going forward to see who draws who. I know it always happens. Two of the top 3 or 4 teams always draw each other early on, and that kind of paves the way. But at the same time, you have to play the best to beat the best. So that's something always to keep in mind. And also, a lot of times that builds momentum. So that's, if you can beat them, you can gain a lot of traction, kind of like Chelsea did a few years ago. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the second legs. I believe they're later on in March 18th, I believe. It's the first game. So it's been a great time. I love the Champions League. I watch so many sports. You can ask any of my friends. But the Champions League, of all the leagues, is just, of all the any sport events, it's just my favorite. It's just, there's nothing like a European night, in my opinion. But thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll be leaving a few links to at least the Huntelaar goal that I saw for Real Madrid Schalke. And yeah, look forward to the next video. I'll be reviewing the Liga from this past week, and looking forward to the Madrileño Derby, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid. It's going to be a great game. Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern. See you guys later.